Welcome back to the Dark Reading News Desk at RSA25. Terry Sweeney here with Dark Reading, and joining us now is Bhagwat Swaroop, President of Digital Security with Entrust. Bhagwat, thank you so much for joining us on the Dark Reading News Desk.
Thank you, Terry, for the opportunity.
We're starting with I'll say an Olympian topic. Start us off with some better understanding of the fundamental role that cryptography plays in the overall cybersecurity strategy of an organization.
It's a great question, Terry, to start with. The cryptography is really the foundation of cybersecurity. At its basic level, it makes sure that it preserves the integrity and authenticity of the documents that you're storing and all of the data which is underlying everything that we do, whether it's data at rest or data in motion or data in use. Right? Secondly, cryptography ensures that we preserve trust between digital systems. Think about all of the communications that goes across the system or the transactions. All of those are underpinned by a certain set of cryptographic standards and encryption to make sure the transactions are authentic and the data fidelity remains, right? So it's really one of the invisible layers of plumbing or infrastructure, you want to call it, in your house, which people don't see, but without it, digital commerce would not take place. And what's also happening right now, which is pretty pertinent, is that cryptography layer is undergoing a pretty fundamental, once-in-a-lifetime kind of a tectonic shift, right? Which really brings us to the discussion here today around post-quantum cryptography and also crypto agility.
Sure. Well, one of the other elements in that mix is the advent of quantum computing, and Gartner is predicting that this will be a mainstream technology as early as, say, 2029, which is kind of astonishing. Right. Talk about some of the specific threats that quantum computing poses to the conventional cryptography methods that we use now.
Great. Look, I would say, first of all, I'm actually very excited about quantum computing. As somebody who spent 10 years in computing in my early life, one of my recollection also is that technology moves faster than you think it would. When I fast forward, when we talk about post-quantum computing, when people think it's 5 years or 7 years away, I tell people that it's approaching as faster and furious than you think it would. The downside of PQC, so to speak, is really when the same technology falls in the bad hands or the bad actors' hands. So traditional method of encryption rely on a set of mathematical problems which are very hard for classical computers to break. Think about like prime factoring and other mechanisms. But for quantum computing, they can solve those problems in a fraction of a second. Right?
Wow. Okay.
Secondly, what's really happening is the bad actors are taking advantage of that. Imagine you're working on a top secret design of a product, whether it's a defense product or a software product, or your prized customer information, right? Bad actors are saying, well, I'm going to harvest now, i.e. I'm going to download those documents, store it. In a few years, I would have access to technology which can break the encryption, right? And then I have access to all of that prized crown jewels of an organization at my disposal. So it's really enabling the bad actors to cause damage and havoc in a way that we haven't seen before. The third thing which is going to happen is that there are more and more regulations being thought through and come out which are going to require post-quantum cryptography resistant architecture in organizations. So I feel like this is the right time to start thinking about a proactive measures or a pragmatic approach to getting on the journey as fast as possible so we can secure our organization.
All right. Even though quantum computers that can break the current encryption models are still, let's just agree, a few years away, why do you believe it's crucial for security teams to start implementing quantum-safe algorithms now? I think you alluded to it a little bit in your last answer, but can you take a deeper cut at that?
Yeah, I'm absolutely happy to. So, like, you're right. I mean, whether it happens 1 year or 3 years, I think we have to really look at what is the time frame it takes to undergo this transition. One thing we know for sure is that the transition to post-quantum cryptography is complex and messy, right? And at the same time, it's urgent. The reason is you're not changing any one device or algorithm or software layer. The way cryptography is embedded, going back to the foundation, it requires a whole change of infrastructure from your key generation in HSMs or PKI infrastructure or the way cryptography is used So it's not changing one system, it's changing multiple systems, and they have to go hand in hand to be able to secure the encryption from end to end. So it's going to be a lengthy process, and it needs to be programmatic process. So what we tell our customers today is start on the journey now. The first thing, create a blueprint. Make it somebody's day job. That we are beginning to see roles like head of quantum in some organizations or head of cryptography taking on the charter. Make it one person's job, ask them to start creating a strategy, and then the most natural step that you would then take is to say, first find out where your cryptography estates is spread out. Because a lot of our customers tell us they don't have a good handle on where all are the secrets and the keys and certs spread out, right? So I feel like this process is gonna take some time. We have some data points in the past when we went from SHA-1 to SHA-2 algorithm of a change in encryption. It took the industry more than 12 years to make that transition. Wow. This change is way more fundamental, is gonna require a lot more change, a lot more programmatic element to it. So we tell people that start now, right? You're not early, but waiting, you'll be late. And there are a set of steps we can take programmatically which help you get further ahead on the journey.
Say more about these steps. I'm sure you get asked about the transitions to quantum, quantum-safe future. What do you tell CISOs and other business leaders?
Yeah, I think there's an old adage in security that you can protect what you can't see, right? So the first thing is get visibility. So we always start with identify a person in an organization who's going to be responsible for cryptography. Start creating a PQC strategy, and some organizations bring third-party consultants. We also do a set of assessments to help create that journey view. Create a visibility of where all the inventory, so to speak, of cryptographic assets. There is nowadays a new term being coined as cryptographic bill of materials. Some regulations are beginning to ask for that. Create where all your crypto estates lie. Then do an assessment of the approach you're going to take. Some organizations, very few of them, can take, well, any new implementation, I'm going to just build a brand new PQC implementation. Most organizations, my suspicion is, will fall in the hybrid approach where they say, well, I have already business running right now. I need to start layering in PQC methodology along with. Picking on those one or two of the strategy is going to be an important part. And then translating that into what technology roadmap needs to look like. As I said, it's not one product or two product, and it's also more important that the security doesn't break down at the handshake, right? It's end to end. I think fundamentally what I tell our CISO friends is that journey to post-quantum computing is not a technology problem only, because we sometimes think of every problem and solution as technology. It's a business problem. It's a business imperative. If securing our customer data is a business imperative, transitioning to PQC to make sure it stays secure for tomorrow is also a business imperative.
Right. Well, Entrust is hardly a passive observer in this conversation. Talk a little bit about your new cryptographic security platform that helps deliver on a lot of the objectives that you just outlined.
That's a great question. Look, I mean, we are a leader in cryptography. We are one of the top leaders in hardware security modules. We are a top leader in public key infrastructure. And while we have point solutions going after part of this, a few years back, we took a step back and said, could we be so bold and so ambitious to try to solve the bigger problem? Because we have the most of those underlying assets. So we combined them all and built a native platform called Cryptographic Security Platform. And its core, it's really trying to go after the three big problems that customers are asking for. First one is one central place to get all the visibility, right? So it has a dashboard which provides you unified visibility across all your keys, certificates, and secrets. So you get one 360-degree view of that. Second is a policy framework view. So when we're looking at complying with whether it's a PCI-CP policy or GDPR or other data, each of these regulations require different form of tokenization and different requirements and cryptography. So you want to make sure you can apply some policy frameworks out of the box so you know whether red, green, yellow, where do you fall in that. And the third part, which is I would say the most important part of all of this, is once you identify a problem and the severity of the problem, how do you help solve that problem? And automation has to be central to that conversation. And so we automate all of the lifecycle management of keys, secrets, and certificates. So we're very excited about it.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the Dark Reading News Desk. You've made a complex topic extremely accessible. Thank you so much for doing this today.
Thank you for the opportunity. I think we need to have more such conversations, Terry.
I look forward to that.
Likewise.
We've been talking with Bhagwat Swaroop of Entrust. This has been Terry Sweeney for the Dark Reading News Desk. Thanks for joining us for this segment. We'll see you next time.